Okay, first item on the agenda is the closed session portion of the meeting. May I have a mover and seconder to go into closed session under the authorities as printed in the agenda? Councillor Brand, Councillor Gladden. All in favor? All hands rising, motion is carried. 6:30. Okay, rising from closed session, council approved the closed session minutes from the October 2nd meeting of council and discuss acquisition and disposition of lands in closed session. Time being 7 p.m., I'd like to call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the traditional territory acknowledgement, followed by a moment of silence. Council of the Township of Red Rock hereby acknowledges that we are on the traditional territory of the Robinson Superior Treaty and that the land we gather on is home to the Red Rock Indian Band, the Anishinaabe, and Métis people. Next item is the Ontario Public Library Week proclamation. The proclamation was included in the agenda package. Is there a mover and seconder for motion to proclaim October 15th to the 21st, 2023 as Ontario Public Library Week in the Township of Red Rock? Councillor Smith. Councillor Brand. All in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. Administration advises that there are no additions to the agenda. Are there any members of council wishing to make amendments to the agenda? Okay, seeing none. Can I have a mover and seconder for motion to approve the agenda as presented? Councillor Muir. Councillor Gladden. All in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. Are there any declarations of interest to disclose? Okay, seeing none. Okay, tonight we have Shannon Jean and Kim Benson from She Shed Aesthetics and Spa here to present their business plans. On up. Yeah, sure. Green or red? There we go. For allow.
Oh, when it's red. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll start over.
Sorry.
Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to present. As some of you may know us already, I'm Shannon Jean, and this is my partner, Kim Benson, my business partner. We also have another partner with us, Stacy Roberts, who is a nurse practitioner. She doesn't usually present with us, but just wanted to introduce her as well. We just wanted to present to you today. I used to say our business plan. I feel like it's a little bit more of a business plan now, a little more further along. We just wanted to tell everybody what we're doing, what we're looking for, and just what we've done so far. We've completed some online and in-person training, all of our certifications, and then we just wanted to let everybody know that we are ensuring that we are going to follow all the health and safety regulations to make sure we're in compliance with everything. I also just wanted to start with one of our main ideas we started with was we traveled across the North Shore to start just kind of getting a feel of what is out there already, and then what we could add for value around the North Shore here, and what we could bring more residents to our communities. So we started going towards Manitouwadge and Marathon, and we tried to gather information of what services are people traveling to Thunder Bay for, and how can we get those services here? And then as far as Marathon and Manitouwadge, and get those people here. So that was the whole point of our survey that is also included in this. Our mission is to encourage and support our clients at all life stages so that they can age gracefully and enhance their natural beauty. We strive to enhance self-image and self-esteem by providing a variety of high-quality services and using premium products. Both Kim, myself, and Stacy are all from medical backgrounds, as some of you may know. So we wanted to start a spa that was med spa, a little bit of stress relief that we've all been going through lately. Some of the services that we will be offering, the courses that we've already taken, Botox and laser. Kim and Stacy have both done their certifications in Winnipeg, and those are complete. Facials, relaxation massage, hot stone massage, eyelash extensions, pedicures, sugaring, which is another form of waxing, spray tanning, teeth whitening, and permanent jewelry. We also wanted to note that we are very open to changing our services to what clients need, what clients are looking for. We're very open to adding more services down the road. We have in here our survey, and we just wanted to put that out there that when we asked people what they were traveling for, then we kind of started, our first ideas weren't really the main focus that we thought. So then we had to kind of refocus what we were going to be trained in. So we went that way. I also included in your package our goals for the first few years. Because it's just us doing this right now, our year one, we just are going to be focused on the startup, obviously, and focus on attracting new customers and clients to the North Shore. Year 2 to 5, we wanted to invest additional funds into our business and expand our services. And as I mentioned, if we had to take additional training, more equipment. And then year 5 and onwards, we wanted to partner with local businesses, kind of make more of a retreat, kind of like weekend packages with like yurts and saunas and that cabin style. So we're here today because we have had quite the struggle with trying to find a location. We have been, I feel like, to every location possible. We have been flooded out of locations. So we are here looking for any location, a convenient location that will attract people coming from the North Shore. I had in here some pictures, and it really was like floor plans. Like, we don't have anything specific. We had our dream. We started building our dream, and it flooded. So we are open to any different sort of floor plans. We're just trying to start, and we would like something that we could, even just as a temporary space. We do know that we want to go bigger. So we just would like to really start. So if there's a temporary location, we understand that there might not be permanent locations for us for a 10-year plan right now, but if there's something that Red Rock may have for a temporary location, we would appreciate that.
Are you ready to field some questions?
Sure.
Okay. Councillor Smith.
You're talking about temporary locations or locations. Do you know what minimum square footage you require to, you know, because that would again help us in any decision or anything that we can offer without knowing how small it can be. We can't really.
So we haven't actually narrowed down an exact square footage because we've been trying to be really accommodating to whatever area has been available. We've looked at places from 700 square feet to 2,000 square feet, so I think we could try and make something work. We have pedicure chairs that do require some temporary, which we keep saying temporary because we just want to stress that we're not trying to like build a new building. But we do have some pedicure chairs that would require some temporary plumbing.
Councillor Gladden.
Like how about electrical or anything? Do you need special other than regular wall
Nothing-
plugs?
Yeah, nothing special for electric.
Councillor Brand.
So your pedicure chairs, I didn't realize they need plumbing, so it has to be like hard plumbed into.
Well, we've looked at some different options for the pedicure chair, so if we can't have them plumbed in, we can come up with other options to have the plumbing hidden that would go to the chairs, or we've talked about other options that we would prefer to use our pedicure chairs with the massage features instead of just a regular chair. But if we can't do the plumbing, I'm sure we could accommodate a different way, but
Councillor Smith.
Ideally, when were you thinking of opening? I know you said you had plans at another location that's flooded. What time frame do you need from, say, you get a location to when you can open? Like, what's that time frame look like?
yeah. Yeah, I'm ready. So I think we would be open to anything, honestly. Like, we are ready to go. We have the equipment in boxes, just sitting there waiting. So we're ready to go. We're ready. We are flexible with it.
Councillor Brand.
No, go ahead. So, is your long-term goal to be located in Nipigon or if you had a place here in Red Rock, you would plan around staying here?
Yes.
So I know previously, before you were able to get, unfortunately, your locations in Nipigon, we did have our old CDO office in the town office. I'm not sure if that's still something that you would be interested in, as there is two sources of, water. There is washing facilities there, and obviously I wanted in Red Rock, and I do. I'm a Gen Xer, so I'm not going out. You know what I mean? I'm going to be using these services. So I travel to Thunder Bay for some of them. So I don't know if that's still of an interest. Obviously, we'd like to rent that out. Or there's the curling club, which is a bigger space. I know they're not aesthetically super up to par, but I'm not sure if any of that works for you, but you could always, if you still want to look at those facilities, I can reach out to Mark for sure. Councillor Mayor.
Yeah, I was looking at the layout that's right there. Just feedback with me. I was looking at the layout you have on page 10 in the bottom corner where you have the looks like there's a counter there, and then you have layouts. The curling club on the, I can't get away from the feedback. The curling club has that little bar area when you walk in the door. So the top flight of the area is kind of accessible, but there's the stairwell, bathrooms in there. You could put temporary walls in, and I mean that's an ideal location. As far as plumbing goes, I don't know what you're needing, but you could probably pump everything back to tie into the plumbing that's behind the back wall. So I mean that curling club looks like as close as you're going to get to that picture in the bottom left corner for sure. Just a little paint and some elbow grease, and I'm sure it'll look sure. So and then my second question is I need to know a little more about sugaring. And then I need to know what I do. I just got to know a little more. And then the other thing is, I'll Google it after. The permanent jewelry, your piercings, yeah?
It's actually, you can do bracelets, anklets, necklaces. It sounds scary, but it's actually just welded together. So if, say, you were going for a medical procedure and you needed to have it removed, you just come back to us, you have it clipped off and then put back on. So it's just your little clasp is welded together.
Oh, okay, it's okay. Okay, 'cause the other thing I was thinking about the permanent jewelry, there's a fellow on the internet, he's got the horns and there's, I thought I was talking about that other.
Yeah, no, we're not
Okay,
gonna do.
all right.
Not yet, anyway.
Okay, good, no, down the line. Okay, I'll fill out the survey for that next time.
Counselor Smith.
Um, more off of what Mayor Robson was talking about, what level of construction are you willing to do for this as well? Is there any regulations that you have to adhere to, like PHIPAA? Do you have to insurance? Those?
I mean, I guess we haven't really talked about so much of the construction. We were willing to do a lot of construction before, so I mean, we have a lot of 2x4s at my house ready to go. We do, one of the comments I was thinking about the curling club too was for the sinks for the health unit. We just have to make sure that we comply with all the sinks that were needed for washing our equipment, for washing hands. They have to be separate. So I know that was one of the concerns when we first looked at the curling club. And then the PHIPAA, I think you have to follow mostly for Botox. Yeah.
I just know like our facilities, we do have some stairs, so I don't know if that's, that limits, you know, accessibility or whatever, if that needs to be followed, but you do have private access with both facilities, right? Like actually you can go through the library way to get into the basement of the municipal office. So that's something there, but we are willing to help you out. I believe this council is. If we have something for you, then I think that's something that our area does need, but Councillor Brand.
Just going back on the entrance, we do have the one entrance that comes off the parking lot that is flat. There's no stairs going in, so there is that. But also, in comparison to, say, the town office, I think the rec center, you might get more visibility with, you know, people using the arena for whatever, the restaurant, the bowling alley, exercise class. So you might get more people seeing you, you know. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. We could have a special.
I was gonna say, we'll make it special.
Well, yeah, I didn't do that special.
Are there any other questions or comments for these ladies? Anything else you'd like to say, or?
I don't think so. I mean, Kim hasn't come to visit the Red Rock location, so it would be good that we can go.
Yeah, I would love to see them.
And maybe just reach out to me and we can kind of go maybe on a little tour and we can see what you like and I can bring it back to council that way. We can look at all options, right? And then I can present them back to council, but if you have my email, just send me an email tomorrow and or I can follow up with you and we can arrange something.
Well, I'd like to thank you for coming, you know, and we wish you all the success. We hope that it would be in Red Rock, even if it's just a start. I think I think you guys are going to do great. So hopefully we'll hear back from you. Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Okay, next we have Jacob here from Food Cycle to present the Municipal Food Waste Division Pilot Program. Hi, Jacob.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for having me on tonight. I believe the plan was for me to share my screen, but I don't think it's enabled right now.
Ask for permission.
You have to ask for permission.
Like formally ask.
There's something you need. Yeah.
Sorry, there should be something in the Zoom.
Yes.
I should be good at this. There we go. Okay, perfect. Okay, can you confirm you can see that okay?
Yes, we can.
We've given you permission.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, well, I just want to start by saying good evening, Mayor and councillors and members of staff. My name is Jacob Hanlon, and I'm the Municipal Program Coordinator at Food Cycle Science. And I'm really excited to be here tonight to virtually be here and to discuss a food waste diversion opportunity for the Township of Red Rock. Just to briefly speak a little bit about who we are as a company, Food Cycle Science is a Canadian company, and we're based out of Ottawa. And we're 100% focused on food waste diversion solutions. So we do this using our innovative technology, which you may have heard of. It's called the Food Cycler. So our in-home food recyclers are sold direct to consumers through partnerships with companies like Vitamix. But then we also put them into classrooms through some of our partnerships with not-for-profit organizations such as Eco Schools Canada. And then as well to municipalities through our municipal solutions team. And that's what I'm going to be speaking about today. So our municipal solutions help many small, rural, remote, and northern communities keep food waste out of their landfills. We're currently working with 105 Canadian municipalities, over 9 provinces and 2 territories, from Nelson in British Columbia up to Hay River in the Northwest Territories, and many communities here in Ontario who often face struggles with food waste management or where curbside green bin programs just aren't necessarily a viable option for them. So not too far from Red Rock, we have programs running in Sioux Lookout, in Kenora, Hearst, and Red Lake, to name a few. So to speak a bit about the problem with food waste is that it is avoidable. It accounts for a large portion of our household waste. It's made up of mostly liquid, which is heavy, it freezes in the wintertime, and it's overall just very unpleasant to deal with. So when we put our food waste in the garbage and it ends up in the landfill, it's responsible for generating some pretty harmful greenhouse gases. And all these factors make it so that food waste is a problem that has a strong municipal impact. So one of the impacts to municipalities is, since food waste makes up such a large portion of our waste stream, it is causing landfills to fill up quickly. Operating a landfill is obviously quite costly for a municipality if it's owned or even through the waste contracts. It's definitely a costly operation. And on top of that, we also want to extend the lifespan of our landfills for as long as we can. When we look at the environmental impacts of organic waste, when it ends up in the landfill, it is typically squished between tons and tons of other garbage, and it doesn't have the necessary access to oxygen that it needs to properly break down. So when it is in that anaerobic environment in the landfill, it ends up using methane gas, which is quite a bit more harmful to the environment than the CO2 that it would normally emit in the natural decomposition process. And then in our communities, when we put food waste in the garbage, it obviously causes odors, which is unpleasant for humans, but it can be interesting for animals like bears and raccoons who like to come into town and get into our garbage. So reducing food waste from the garbage eliminates these issues, and it reduces the overall volume of what we end up having to either self-haul or have collected, and reduces what ends up in the landfill. So this can obviously save on hauling and disposal fees. It can save space in the landfill, and it can save residents on some hassle and any extra fees they might face. So we often get asked the question, haven't we solved this problem already? And yes, there are green bins, which are common in big cities with high population density and the right infrastructure, but this can be cost prohibitive and it can be quite challenging to implement on an operation side. Many people in your community might backyard compost, and while we do think this is a great solution, unfortunately, it's not feasible for everybody. It's certainly not a year-round solution with our harsh winters, and there's still the concern about bears and other animals getting into that backyard bin. And then finally, as I mentioned before, the easiest solution is to continue to landfill organic waste, but the long-term impacts here are costly and pretty harmful to the environment. So I'm going to play a short video here and just give a bit of a commentary on what the food cycler is and what it does. So what we've done is we proposed a different way to deal with our food waste, and this really focuses on making it easy to deal with and right in our homes. So essentially, we built a small kitchen appliance. It's about the size of a bread machine, and you can put in your food waste, and this can include things like meat, poultry, fish, dairy, even some bones. and then you push a button, and in a matter of hours, typically 8 hours or less, you end up with a dry, odorless, and nutrient-rich soil amendment that comes out. Very similar to a fertilizer in terms of its nutrient value. And the machine can be used anywhere that has a plug, while these machines are often referred to as countertop kitchen food recyclers. They can be used anywhere that has a plug. So in a kitchen, in a basement, in a heated garage. On average, the food cycler processes between 1 and 3 kilograms of food waste per cycle. And with that cycle taking under 8 hours, it's a low energy appliance as well. It uses about 0.8 to 1.5 kilowatt hours of power. So similar to having a computer plugged in for the same amount of time. So just to give a brief overview of the two machines that we offer in our municipal programs. So the biggest difference is the one on the left there, the FC30, has a 2.5 liter capacity in the bucket. So we typically recommend that for smaller households of 1 to 2 people. And then the Eco 5 on the right, we recommend it for households of three plus. Overall, we typically allow residents to choose which machine they want when they enroll in a food cycler program based on either their budget or their needs or their household size. And I just want to take a moment here to emphasize kind of the before and after when you use the food cycler. So there's about a 90% reduction in the weight and volume of food waste, and that end byproduct not only is it greatly reduced and dried right out, it is still full of nutrients and it's beneficial to soil health and plant growth. A lot of residents like to use it in their home garden or even in their lawn. But we do have several other options for that byproduct as well. As I said, most people will use it at home. They're excited about turning their food waste into a fertilizer that they can use in their garden, but it can also be added into a backyard compost bin. It can be dropped off at a local compost site. In some communities, we help them partner with local farmers or community gardens, and then that allows the residents to have somewhere to take their byproduct and kind of keep it in that closed loop. And then I'll just briefly talk about kind of the impact here in terms of an economic side of things. When you look at the traditional method of waste management, it's a heavily burdened system. It has unrelenting costs, trucking, labor, maintenance. But with the food cycler, it's a truly decentralized approach where residents are empowered to manage their food waste right in their homes. It avoids unnecessary labor and costs. There's no greenhouse gas emissions coming out of putting trucks on the road. And there's no extra infrastructural cost to the municipality or to the residents either. So I'm going to shift now more into our programs that we run and that we've completed. One thing we've learned from working with residents in the municipalities is that they are quite interested in being part of a solution. They want to try new things, they want options, they want their government to bring different methods to combat climate change to their community. And with the food cycler, you get to do just that. I mentioned that we've been working with many municipalities across Canada, and to date, we've completed pilot programs in over 50 municipalities and over 6,000 households. And the results of these programs have been overwhelmingly positive. We've been able to achieve a significant amount of net new waste diversion. We have a generous user experience rating of 4.6 out of 5 stars and a 98% participation rate, meaning that when asked at the end of their trial period if the residents would continue using their food cycler as their method of food waste diversion, we had 98% say yes across the board in those 6,000 plus households. Many municipalities that we've worked with have expanded their programs to more households in their community after the initial pilot program. Some will start with 50 and in the following year add another 50 and et cetera. But just to highlight one of our programs in particular, Nelson in British Columbia, they ran 2 small pilot programs to start, and they are now in the process of putting a food cycler in every home in their city of 5,000 households. So a few months ago, Food Cycler was selected as a finalist in Impact Canada's Food Waste Reduction Challenge. This is a 3-part initiative run by the Government of Canada to reduce Canada's food waste. We were awarded a $400,000 prize and tasked with finding more Canadian municipalities as implementation partners. So we've been using this funding to invest directly into these pilot programs at a heavily subsidized rate. And these pilots have helped us move into the final stage of the challenge. We've already submitted our final application, and we should find out before the end of December if we're one of 2 grand prize winners of 1.5 million. And any future funding that we receive is going to be put right back into these programs. And any municipalities that are partnered with us, they'll have the right of first refusal on any subsequent funding that we get. So to give a brief overview of the pilot program and then just a couple more slides before I wrap up, it's typically a 12-week project. Residents will purchase a food cycler at the subsidized rate from their municipality. They'll then use it and track the number of cycles per week for those 12 weeks. And then at the end, the residents get to keep their food cycler for good. And we ask them to complete a brief survey so that we can evaluate the program's success. We then present these results back to you in a final report or a feasibility study. And the data can be used to support your future waste management decision making, or to accompany a recommendation or a grant application to help expand the program. Now, just to look at the pricing model that we use here. So the funded pilots in our municipal programs, they work based on the subsidy model, where Food Cycle Science provides this initial discount. And then we add in that federal funding from Impact Canada, and that gets the price of each unit reduced by 50% when you compare it to what you would find on Amazon or Vitamix at the retail level. We then ask the municipality to subsidize the cost by $100 per household, and then the participating residents will choose which model best suits their household, and they contribute that remaining amount. Then after the 12-week pilot, the food cycler is theirs to keep. We find that having this cost-sharing model, especially with the resident putting in a portion, it's really allowed us to achieve maximum diversion and maximum participation. Most residents wouldn't put money towards something like this if they weren't going to use it. So it's been a really effective model so far. And just some pilot program sizes as recommendations here. We would obviously recommend a smaller pilot program, perhaps 50 households just to start, and just to look at what that would look like in terms of the cost of the municipality. That would be a municipal investment of $5,000 plus shipping and HST as well. And this program, it's very flexible and adaptable. 50 households is our minimum for a pilot program. But we're happy to adapt this to fit the needs of your residents or your budget, or any other factors that you might kind of put towards the program. And we're also happy to explore any grant opportunities as well that you might be able to apply for to help fund the program. Last slide here before I wrap up. I'm not going to go through all of these points, but these are just some reasons that may resonate with you as to why you could consider piloting this program with us. As I said, I'm not going to go through them all, but extending the life of landfill, reducing greenhouse gases, and offering your residents an opportunity to divert some of their waste and be a steward for the environment at a cost well below market prices. These are things that we found have been really important to residents in the programs we've completed, and I don't doubt that your residents would also find this to be important factors as well. So, with all that being said, we'd like to welcome the Township of Red Rock as a partner in this food waste challenge. We definitely believe that your community would be a great fit for the benefits of this program, especially considering the success we found in our other Northern Ontario communities. So today, I'd just like to ask that you receive the presentation as information. And if there is interest in partnering with us on a funded pilot program, I just ask that you refer me to a staff member to work with to bring a report and a recommendation back to council. So thank you so much again for allowing me to present, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Councilor Muir.
Hi, Jacob. Just a quick question there. So the total cost would be $18,050. The municipal portion would be $6,800. So $18,050 could get us a recycling program, because right now we don't recycle plastics.
Okay.
So is there any benefit to us? Like, how do I say this? Can you convince me that spending $18,000 on household waste would be more beneficial than spending $18,000 on recycling plastics?
I know from the research we've done and the data that we have, the environmental impact of food waste in the landfill compared to plastics. When plastics are breaking down, they're not releasing methane to the environment. It's food waste that's releasing those greenhouse gases that are having a big impact. I know in terms of the amount of space and the generation of food waste, it's typically pretty consistent from town to town and municipality to municipality in terms of it can be up to 40 or 50% of the household waste. We find that in terms of the options for residents as well with diverting their food waste, there aren't a ton. I know for recycling as well, it's in that similar boat. I'm not going to say that recycling and putting money towards a recycling program is not going to have a big impact, because it would. But in terms of grants as well that could go towards something like this, I do believe that there are quite a few more opportunities for grant funding that could go towards this program. So I don't want to put this in a boat where it's one or the other. I do think that exploring the different food waste diversion grants, especially with different regulations coming to Ontario and with the Blue Box program kind of breaking up here, I do think that there is an opportunity where it doesn't have to be one or the other.
Awesome. Thanks very much. I'm very much open to hearing what the public wants for sure. Survey or something for sure, but thank you very much for answering that.
Thank you.
Councillor Smith?
If we went forward with the program and 50 houses have these food recyclers for the 12 weeks, do you guys maintain them? So in 12 weeks, for some reason, they break down, is that covered, or is that up to the person, the household to fix it and return it?
Yeah, so part of the partnership with the program is we definitely help manage it every step of the way. One of the benefits of the partnership is that there is a 1-year warranty with the machines. We typically find that anything that goes wrong is typically within the first few uses due to any kind of manufacturing defect. So we work with the residents to make sure their machines are working properly. And if there is an issue, we'll troubleshoot with them. We have a great customer support team. We tell residents, don't go to your municipality, come to us, we'll troubleshoot with you. And if the machine does need to be replaced, we'll do that for you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Jacob, I met you down at AMO and seeing what the final product looked like. I'm actually pretty excited about this. I can't wait for the survey to go out, because I really do think that we would get 50 households that would want to join this. I know it, depending on your lifestyle, what kind of waste you have, but this would be beneficial. And I think it's a one-time cost for the municipality, where I think other programming, it's year after year. So I think if there's funding for this or that type of, thing moving forward after the initial program. But I know I myself would sign up for this. I like it. It's not a huge machine. Anybody who has an air fryer can compare it to that. So really that's all I have to say about that. But I look forward to seeing what the township and the residents have to say about it. But thank you. Thanks for your presentation. Councillor Gladden.
Thank you.
Hey, Jacob. Again, I echo the mayor in this. I'm really excited about it. I really hope that the community does invest into this program. So going forward, I think in your presentation that you gave to council, you would want something signed by sometime in November to begin in January. Is that correct?
Yeah, so with the remaining Impact Canada funding we have, we're definitely prioritizing programs that are approved in this calendar year. They don't need to start in this calendar year, but we're definitely prioritizing putting that funding towards programs that ideally November have an approval, but December as well. If it's something where you're putting material out to residents and doing a survey, we're happy to be patient there as well. But we are basically having our next round of programs starting in January or February.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No other questions or comments? No, seeing none. Okay, well, thank you, Jacob. Great presentation, and we look forward to reaching out to you in the future.
Thank you very much, Mayor and councillors and members of staff, and have a great rest of your evening.
You too. Okay, now open session minutes of the last regular meeting, October 2nd, or at items 5.1 on the agenda. Are there any errors or omissions to note in the open session minutes? Seeing none. May I have a mover and seconder for motion to approve the minutes of the open session? Councillor Muir, Councillor Gladden, all in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. Item 6.1, information purposes regarding a letter from MPP Catherine Fife on Bill 21, Fixing Long-Term Care Amendment Act. Do any members of council have any remarks on the item? Councillor Muir.
Yeah, we can put a motion in to support this. This is working in long-term care this was probably the saddest thing you get to see. Yeah, it's the hardest thing. So we definitely have to support this. They should have had this done years ago. So
Abundance, right? Like, you want to write a resolution?
Yeah, we'll, with the direction, we can respond to that letter with support from the township
Okay,
resolution.
I can write one up now or bring it back?
No, I think if if we put one just briefly down now with the resolution and passed it, that we'd be able to send that forward.
it's to support.
I didn't read it like a resolution. I just read it as correspondence.
Yeah, it's to support the Till Death Do Us Part Act, the one that they're
Okay.
trying to push through.
Okay, can I have a mover and seconder for resolution to support that the township or say that the township of Red Rock supports Bill 21 fixing long-term care amendment act? Also Weir, also Brand. All in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. Good luck reading that one, Whitney. Next item 6.2. Information purposes only relating to the programming schedule for the Ontario Public Library Week. Do any members of council have any remarks? No, seeing none. Okay, item 8.1. Director of Operations. Good evening, Blair. Okay, any questions or comments on Mr. Westerman's report? Councillor Muir.
Hey, Blair, yeah, just back to the lift stations 1 and 2. So obviously the pumps keep getting clogged up. Do we have how many hours have been invested into the cost for this repair? Are we tracking that? Because with all honesty, I guess grinding pumps might work, but this is starting to cost quite a bit of money with these pumps getting clogged up. So are we tracking that or anyway, or do we have any idea how much?
I don't know. I mean, I was tracking it at one point. I haven't been lately, to be honest, but I mean, there is progress in getting the project kicked off here before the holiday season. So,
because I guess one of my thoughts is that, so we're discussing, the new subdivision and people keep seeing that, pumps are getting clogged and they're hearing it's 670 grand for pumps. But I just want people to understand these pumps, the pump that would go in a lift station would grind everything up. And that's what we're working towards with this, isn't it?
well, in all likelihood, if we move ahead with that Bruno's project, we'll probably have to invest in a brand new lift station. They'll probably abandon the one that we currently have at the creek.
Okay,
It
so,
won't, it'll have to be sized for the project.
well, that's good news as well too, right? So if we're abandoning one well,
As long as we can find money to build a new lift station, I guess.
we just gotta keep asking. That's the thing. We just gotta keep begging for it. All right, thanks, Blair.
Councillor Brand.
So my question may not be specifically for Blair, but it's on the same lines as Councillor Muir. I'm wondering if council could perhaps have a breakdown of lift station 1 and lift station 2 as to what it's cost us over the year for maintenance, for calling in these contractors, for the public works times that we've had to invest in that, because now you're saying perhaps if we got this grinding thing, we'll have to have a new lift station, but if we're also considering a lift station for the subdivision, we should know what our annual costs are for running these. And if we're looking at a new lift station, we figured maybe about $1 million, but it comes with a grinder in it, is that a more expensive? So I'm wondering if council couldn't see maybe what the actual costs are for the year to run these two lift stations and just what it is costing us.
Well, I'm sure the costing could be easily tracked through timesheets.
Yeah,
You'll
I'm
see-
talking about even for having these different contractors who have to come down and also your time and the works times to time as well.
Well, I'm hoping that's all gonna change with, once this project gets kicked off. They're gonna be brand new pumps, so I mean, that's the whole issue right now, that's the age of these pumps. The tolerances between the impeller and the wear, there is no wear ring. So there's a gap in there that's allowing this material through this clogging the pumps. The pumps are well past their life cycle, so that's the whole issue. Well, besides the fact that what's being flushed.
So, oh, sorry. So once this is fixed, then are you saying we won't have any more?
You're not gonna
issues?
see these maintenance costs.
You won't see those any longer.
Well, you shouldn't. And they're not necessarily gonna be grinder pumps either. They're gonna be modern sewage pumps, but I don't think they're gonna have a grinding feature. Like, that's pretty elaborate sort of system. I don't think that's what's being installed. It'll be similar to what was there, but in being new pumps, you know, like, you're not gonna see these issues.
Councilor Muir.
Yeah, so but those pumps are sized for like 10 houses, eh? Or are they sized? Because if I'm thinking just now outside the box, if those pumps are, you know, that the subdivision say it could take a while. So those pumps could just be transferred over to a new station
I
now
wouldn't think so.
temporarily until
No,
they
it
start
would-
to have to be assessed. sidewise.
It'll all depend on the engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that lift station, I imagine is gonna be sized for the size of that.
Oh, yeah, no,
project.
absolutely. It'll be sized for
It
the
could be
project.
completely different. Yeah. it
Yeah,
could
but-
be like,
Like he'd mentioned, if it's sized for the project, you could just temporarily use those pumps for 5 years until you start getting more houses and then come back after. So it could be like a staged approach possibly.
well, you still have lift station 2 on 628 that you could use those pumps in, I guess. If you wanted to, you know, have some.
So we got
redundancy.
options then for that. Good, thanks. E.
If I may just add to that, I mean, Blair is correct. I mean, these are old systems. The cost that we're incurring are not new. We've been seeing this for a while. It's why we took the approach of adding this to our current wastewater facility project and having these fully funded projects paid for by both levels of the province. We definitely have additional costs. The alternative to not going to a call out is a lot worse than what we have to do to maintain our facilities. I mean, we could break down the costs if that's what it is. That is the desire of council. But in saying that, we can't avoid those costs either. It's not an option. So when we're done with this facility or these pumps or these 2 new lift stations, we will have brand new lift stations based on mechanical and electronic components of these 2 sites. So, and if in the future, at some point, we do have to build another one, that's a completely different piece to this puzzle, because again, this is a project that, in our opinion, we proactively looked at tying into this existing funding, and it will be a good thing. Will we continue to have call outs until that time? And that might be a month, that might be 2 months, most certainly. Can we stop the call outs? I mean, the option of stopping them isn't a reality. So I mean, there will be some additional costs, and we'll try to minimize them the best we can.
Councilor Smith.
Ice. So it's supposed to start today. Do you know if, according to the thing here said, you're gonna be getting to create ice started this week. Is that still the plan?
It's
Still,
already started, actually. There's been 5 to 6 floods already.
and it's going well?
Yeah, so far, yeah.
Any other questions or comments on Blair's report? My final comment is, after so many years of dealing with the lift stations, I'm looking forward to not having these discussions anymore. Unfortunately, people continue to flush items that we've repeatedly asked year after year not to do, and they continue to do it. So is what it's not, it is what it is. That's not the proper saying or, accurate saying for it, but it's very frustrating, right? Because it does come out of taxpaying dollars. Councillor Smith.
Sorry. And then the roofing, is that going well? No issues? I know my daughter was taking pictures from my house of people on the roof there. What's going on?
No, so far, so good. Yeah, they're making good progress.
Okay, can I have a mover and seconder to receive the report? Councillor Brand. Councillor Smith. All in favor? All hands raising, motion is carried. Thanks, Blair.
Welcome.
Will do.
Sorry, Blair's
Yeah.
gonna stay there in case there's a discussion based on my report that Blair may need as well.
Okay.
That I may need Blair.
Okay, next item, 8.2, report from the fire chief. Do any members of council have any questions on the report? Councillor Muir?
Yeah, just with regard to being a regional training center, will that bring revenue into the fire hall?
I can certainly get an answer for that. I know Red Rock being central, a lot of times we will. We just took advantage of that recently with emergency management training where we hosted the region in this building. We had participants as far away as Manitowoc, I believe, that were here for that. So whether it's a revenue generator, I'm not sure, but I can certainly get you an answer.
Because it'll be a cost savings for travel for our team. But yeah, I just was wondering if the province had any funding they put forward for that. And
Yeah, again, I'll get
Yep.
you an answer. Like
Appreciate it.
you bring up a good point. And when we did the mandatory compliance training here, it allowed our staff, the 2 members, myself and deputy clerk, who are mandated to take the training. We didn't have to travel for, 2 days out of town. We were here, so it does save you money that way. But I could definitely get you an answer.
Councillor Gladden?
Maybe Mark, you can answer this. Maybe I don't remember, but the legacy process, did they put application in the first round or is this for the legacy process for grandfathering? I believe it's for grandfathering members of the fire department. Is that to?
That story took so many sidelines. I'm not sure. I definitely will speak to, I believe there is a grandfathering legacy clause in for certain members, but it still puts you into a lot of additional training for others, but I can definitely follow up on that as well.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research, but I just didn't know if they had applied before this time.
Any other questions or comments? No, seeing none. Yeah. Okay, can I have a mover and seconder to receive the report? And that council regretfully accepts the resignation of Tyler Lafleur and appoints Orion Addis to the Red Dog Volunteer Fire Department as a probationary firefighter. Councillor Muir. Councillor Smith. All in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. Thank you. Okay, next item, 8.3, report on administrative activities. Do any members of council have any questions of Mr. Figumini? Councillor Brand.
Sorry, I'm just wondering, you'd had been having the EMS listed and I see it's not listed anymore. Are you not still looking into that?
For listen, for listing properties for them or the whole process or is that? No, for sure, definitely. That process is ongoing. I don't want to say daily, but it's certainly something we're following. At this point, they're not urgently requiring any information from us. They're dealing, in their words, they're centralized more on the Scriber Terrace Bay area first as handling that. But we're following it. I've let them know that the Township of Red Rock has looked at site locations and we follow up occasionally, but there doesn't seem to be an urgency on their end at this moment. They know that the Township of Red Rock understands the discussions based on consolidation, and they know that at no point have we said we're not willing to provide a location. So we'll stay on that for sure.
I think it's just removed off of there because he had mentioned that it's going to be ongoing. So if anybody was looking at our agenda, thinking that it's always going to be topic of discussion, just until we hear back from them. That's, yes, yeah.
So I'm just wondering, have we provided any other further sites? I know we had, I believe, suggested the old weigh scale station. I think that was disregarded because of different issues, but have we given other locations?
So you're correct. We looked at the old weigh scale property for a few reasons. That property is deemed to not be a property that will fit. And at this point, we've advised them that we will provide locations, but at this point, they haven't specifically come out and asked us for those provided locations. So they know we have an intent to provide the locations, but again, I believe they're slightly delayed in their process.
Councillor Smith?
No, I would like to more hear about the items that you have for updates at the bottom regarding the property tax treat policy and the restaurant lease.
Yeah, certainly. I guess I can go there if there's no other questions. Yeah. Yeah, so just a general reminder, it is local government week. So, I mean, you may see the office share the odd local government week kind of little blurb or advertisement. But again, it's that was just a general reminder. Property tax sale update. So that will be coming to council with a decision or with a recommendation, probably as early as the next meeting or the meeting following. So in a summary, we did recently host a tax sale. I believe it was September 28th. It was for a property known as 419 Highway 628 Red Rock. There's obviously a roll number and a more legal name, but the best way to describe it to you is would be as you're leaving 628 on your right, it was the house that we recently had fenced off and then knocked down. That tax sale was unsuccessful, which means we yielded no bids on that property based on the sale price. So we're working with Real Tax right now on the options of what we do. So there's a few different options. We can write that off and charge that property back. We can invest in that property, or we can put it up for an additional tax sale. So we're working with Real Tax right now, and we'll have a recommendation to bring to council for that. So that tax sale was unsuccessful, and the process continues on that, and we'll bring that back in the near future. The restaurant lease I'll go to next. That's basically will be signed and is committed to for November 1st. So Carter Boudreau, as operating as Buzz and Bees, will be taking that the lease over effective November 1st. I've met with Carter a few times now. I've toured him in the facility. He's quite excited to get going. So yeah, we'll continue to work on that. just a highlight on some of the CEMC training that the township is required to do for compliance. So both myself and the alternate CEMC, our deputy clerk Samantha Cameron, have completed, I guess, 90% of the training now. We're fully compliant with the IMS 100 course, the EM 200, as well as the EM 300. One more course to go. It's another 3-day course. This one is virtual, so we can do it at the office. And then the township of Red Rock will be compliant for the calendar year of 2023. Really good knowledge learned at the course. We were both I was at a 3-day course last week. Samantha was at a 2-day course. And it really speaks to the importance of compliance, and you don't really think about it a lot because not always are you in an emergency, but if you are, you better be prepared. Not only staff, but council as well. Knowing our responsibilities in an emergency. The best way it was put is, I mean, if you're non-compliant and you're the CAO or the CEMC or a member of council, and you're non-compliant in an emergency, you will be Googleable. You will be very Googleable. If you are compliant, there will still be a story, but you not necessarily will be Googleable. So very important. It's something that it's taken a lot of time, but the township should be compliant, and we're on target to have both the CEMC and the alternate CEMC compliant by 2023. And then the tree policy, it's something we wanted to discuss, and it's why I asked Director of Operations to stay at the table. Beautiful trees in Red Rock, but what we are finding lately, and a lot of discussion both from residents as well as internally, where we are running into issues with trees, a lot of decay on some of the older trees, as well as we've had numerous sewage and drainage issues based on roots. We need a plan moving forward for trees, obviously with the result, or with the intention of saving as many trees and keeping it as beautiful as we can. But there is some cases where we're going to be into situations of liability on some bigger trees, as well as, I mean, we face some liability based on sewage and drainage issues as well. So I know in the past, and I keep getting it brought back to me, that in the past it was usually a decision of council as to how trees were managed. And again, looking for direction on that, but also stating that we have no intention of ever taking down trees in an unnecessary manner, but there may be times where we have to look at trees from a perspective of an infrastructure issue. So I guess we just wanted to have some discussion on that on council, but knowing that we have had some issues come up recently where and we have had to remove a tree or 2 trees, I guess, now based on a long-standing drainage issue at a home, and we're hoping we corrected that for the homeowner, because I mean, in my opinion, and I say it to Blair all the time, if it's our infrastructure, then we're ultimately responsible for that as a municipality. So we were just looking for some guidance from council on that, with the knowledge that, I mean, it is day-to-day operations, and and our full intention is to save every tree we can. But if we see decaying trees and we see trees that are causing a liability, then we need to act on them.
Councillor Muir.
I mean, I think we should just maybe start budgeting for a few trees. I know they get expensive, but if we take one down, put one back up, kind of a deal, right? I mean, it's inevitable. The trees aren't going to last forever. We know that, but I think we've got to start, if we take one down, we put one back.
Counselor Gladden.
In 2018, we had an arborist come in. Remember that, Blair? And he made a suggestion of replacing, like, because we have all the silver maple coming up at White Boulevard. And he had suggested that as we remove maybe a variety of species, rather than the same ones going back up. But I don't know, I can't remember the fellow's name.
Yeah, I can't remember his name offhand right now either, but he was a volunteer with the folk festival. He worked as an arborist for the city of Thunder Bay, very knowledgeable. Yeah, James, that rings a bell. But yeah, he took me around town, and I believe he wrote a letter to council. Anyways, yeah, he's very knowledgeable, and we ended up also, I don't know if you remember, in 2019 and in 2020, we hired urban forestry from Thunder Bay to address the trees on White Boulevard. And then the second year, we did some of the old growth trees on the south end of Brompton, Timmins and Rankin. And then COVID came, so that plan got interrupted, but they had full intentions of doing like a plan for us where we would bring them in annually. I mean, budget allowing, I guess, but there was a plan there, and then of course we got interrupted. But I know for certain there is trees that they were warning us of on White that have reached their life expectancy or were close at the time they were warning me of a handful of those trees. So yeah, those, I mean, potential for liability is sort of imminent of those old growth trees.
Counselor Brand.
It's not addressed in our bylaw, but if we need to remove a tree that's on town property or I as a homeowner, property owner, do we have to have an arborist come in and like deem it a dangerous tree? Like I know in Thunder Bay, they have to, before you even touch the tree, you have to bring an arborist in and do this assessment. Do we have to do that here? Or if I have a tree on my property and I cut it down, or if we have a tree on town property, we can just cut it down, or do we have to have?
Well, that's the whole idea of this. We need a policy. We need to address it with a policy.
So a policy different than this bylaw 2021-1228.
I believe that's the tree canopy policy, yeah, which really doesn't speak to the same issue we're speaking about. It's a little bit different.
I think probably moving forward is that we focus on what what management has deemed to be troubled areas, which is causing, infrastructure problems or financial impact to the municipality. And then right through budgeting, we we forecast how many trees we might need. We take down, we replace with better rooted trees or however all of that works, and then work our way out. You know what I mean? Like there's a 3-stage plan or something, what's imminent, what can wait a couple of years and moving forward. Councillor Mayor.
Yeah, I definitely would think, coming up with a procedure. Definitely amazing. Fundraising too for these trees. We can always do that too. We start to get to the point where trees are $5-6 grand, then definitely fundraising would be something I think that I get behind, and I know a lot of people would.
Councillor Smith.
Being somebody who lives on White Boulevard and have a couple of these trees, we have a plan going or whatever, just to have them looked at again and then have somebody qualified to flag the ones that should be, removed in the next 2-3 years, whatever it is. Would that be a better way to go rather than us who are, or at least myself, uneducated in this matter, making decisions on something I have no idea about?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Obviously coming through, we're going into the winter season now, but as we come through a budget process, right? And we approve a budget, it probably is a really good idea to have something like that built in where we do an additional study, because I've never seen a study. I know that there was talk about one in 2018 or 2019, but I mean, realistically, we're 5 years out on that kind of study now. I really like the thought of you take one down, you plant one, for sure. That's kind of the discussions that we were kind of looking for this evening. So we had some kind of a direction or a policy and going forward, that's, I think the best strategy right now is to maybe have somebody assess those in the springtime and see exactly what we're up against. I mean, I know there was some talk of a local arborist or whether we can get somebody in, but there's some that are definitely not in the greatest shape.
Any other questions or comments? Councillor Brand said James Reed. Any other questions or comments on the CAO's report?
No, so maybe then what we'll do is we'll touch base with somebody based on that and looking at some kind of a study of those trees. Okay.
Okay, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to receive the report? Councillor Gladden, Councillor Smith. All in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. Okay, next item is a bylaw to confirm proceedings of council. May I have a, please have a mover and seconder to pass the motion. Pass bylaw. Councillor Muir, Councillor Smith. All in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. Next council meeting will be held on Monday, November 6th, time being 8:11, and no further business to tend to. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.